Let's get into a little bit of news. All right, so quarter century Stampede. QCS will be your last chance to get some of your all-time favorite cards of quarter century secret rares before the shining spectacular singular rarity is gone forever. By the way, quarter centuries have been around for like what, 3 years? Like 2-3 years? It's disgusting. Coming in April, quarter century Stampede will be your last chance to get some of your all-time QCRs before the blah 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 whatever. It's got 80 tournament level cards and a 200 reprint pool. So the good news is we're gonna get a lot of meta cards. Like there's only so many meta cards that haven't been reprinted. We're gonna get it all. Maybe like Chaos Angel, Fuolos, Perlio, I don't know. There's like a lot of meta staples, like meta cards and meta archetypes that could be reprinted. And then they had the polling, the online polling. QCR along with Alliance Insight, it's the last time to get whatever. It's Konami, they might just reprint Fenrir. Yeah, like stuff like Unicorn reprint, Fenrir reprint, stuff like that's cool. I mean, it's good. It's good to have additional access to cards like these. Like if you look at the cost of like Fenrir, this card's like $19. It's not like it's expensive. Like $16 to $18 relatively is not that expensive for a card, relatively. But it's like way better to have this card be like 80 cents. You know what I mean? You can also look at like Castura Unicorn. You know that this card's like $12? It's crazy. That was like 4. There's a lot of good cards that just haven't had reprints that are just weirdly expensive. Like Bestial Druid Worm. This card is, oh my god, this card is to $19. Darkwing Blast is kind of an anomaly of a set, you know what I mean? But you guys can kind of understand that there are a lot of like staple cards where if you like look at a deck list are just like randomly weirdly expensive. Like Solemn Judgment. Like Solemn Judgment doesn't have like a crazy good reprint. Like Solemn Warning. You know, things like Judgment, things like Perulia, things like Rollback, even like Imperm arguably could use another reprint. Like Imperm being $7 after the reprint is just not okay. Tactics Talent. The Thrust has a reprint, doesn't it? Oh god. Oh my god, it's still $7? That's like more than extra meat on a burrito. What the fuck? That's wild. But it is ultimately just like objectively good that these reprints exist. And it's like really good depending on what card selection they decide on. It's gonna be like amazing. It's either gonna be like amazing or like mid. But even if it is mid, it's just nice having access to like certain cards. Like Quarter Century Bonanza was like not a very good set. Like Quarter Century Bonanza and like Rarity Collection 2 were like objectively not great sets. But they held enough random reprints to like make them still, you know, way better for the average player. You know what I mean? Of the top 100 finalists in the poll, a third are already in Quarter Century Bonanza, which is now. So this means like of the 100 finalists, like 30 of the cards already exist. So, you know, they're not going to reprint those. But what's kind of curious is this wording. Another third were cards we were already planning to include in QCS. And even though the poll was for the 200 card Nostalgia set, lots of these cards were scheduled for the core set, available in multiple rarities, so we're going to keep them there in the core set. This includes old favorites like Misk, Cross Crusader, and Infinity, plus newer cards like Fuolos, Chamber Dragon Maid, and Raging Phoenix. Other top voted cards like the heavily demanded Trap Dushu and Metamorphosis are also headed straight to the Nostalgia pool as planned. Now, this could mean one of two things. And it's very much likely the first thing, but it's possible Konami might rules lawyer this. So the first thing is that these cards were already going to be part of the 80 card set that is going to be the core reprint set and not the set of cards that is going to be treated as like the 200 Nostalgia set. By the way, 200 card Nostalgia set is fucking crazy, so good luck pulling your QCR Petite off. But so this could either mean the Fuolos is already included, going to be in the main set, or if Konami really wants to scam, they could say that we are going to keep them there in the core set, as in we are going to keep it exclusive to its original core set in Rage of the Abyss. So stuff like Fuolos, Chamber Dragon Maid, and Raging Phoenix are only going to be available in their original set and not going to be reprinted. Is it possible? Is this likely? Absolutely probably not, but there's like a 1% chance they could get a little skibbity with it, you know what I mean? So there's like a chance Konami might try and, you know, pull a little rug pull action. I don't think they will, but it's just like a possibility. So stay vigilant, duelists. Along with other finishers like Lovely Labyrinth, 1,000 years. No longer will I have to use a collector rare. I can use my armpit wife the way God intended. Also, please give me a QCR big welcome. Like, I just want my whole Labyrinth deck to be QCR. And Masterpiece, all 200 cards will be included in one pack in either a Platinum Secret Rare or a Quarter Century Secret Rare, just like in Bonanza. We'll be showing off more cards, will be closer to the set's release. And yeah, overall, I think that just objectively, this set is great. Not as like an investment point of view or as like a skilled product, but I think that just reprint sets in general like this is great for the player's best interest. I think that's objectively a good thing that players who are not able to easily afford this game to have access to reprint sets like this. Now, there are like two little issues, like two little hairs in the suit. One is that because this set is fucking massive, vendors are way less likely gonna be like having fun opening these. Because their card population pool is so high, most people just don't really want to open the set as like I'm gonna like chase for like Fuolos or whatever, because the odds of you hitting a good card are so much astronomically harder relative to like a normal set. Because if you open like a case of a core set, you're guaranteed like, you know, like 2 to 3 of every secret rare, like almost guaranteed. But if you open like a case of like Quarter Century Stampede, like God fucking knows what you're gonna pull out of 300 cards. You know what I mean? Sorry, 280. The second thing that makes this a little bit fucking annoying is that if they do decide to reprint cards like Fuolos or whatever, when did this set get released? This set was released 2 months ago. Like, the fact that they're reprinting Fuolos after 6 months is like a little frustrating, because it makes competitive player investment. It makes players sometimes feel that their competitive investments can be a little bit frustrating because they feel like they got in early, they paid like a really good price, and then it could feel like other people just get rewarded because just super randomly this one time Konami decided to reprint a card in under a year. A chase card, by the way, in under a year. Remember, like, we all thought Access Code was going to be in the Megatins and it wasn't, and it shot up to being like $100 for like another like 3 weeks before it got reprinted like a gold set? Or the fact that like the Diabell Star and Wanted stuff had been so expensive for so long. It feels like that was the trend for reprint policies, and people kind of went into it with the idea of I should buy Fuolos early and get a lot of copies while it's still at this relatively lower era because, you know, Fuolos is going to be a staple, it's going to be objectively good, blah 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 blah. And it can feel very shitty for like people who like sunk a lot of money into that, and now Fuolos crashed by like $1 bajillion. Like, remember when this card was like $150 and now it's like under 100, which is absurd. Okay, but doesn't having a paywall in the meta means there's no competitive integrity? No. In my opinion, outside of in extremely rare scenarios, outside of like in very specific scenarios, like with Doodle, for instance, most players who are willing to take competitive Yu-Gi-Oh super seriously will be able to find a way in order to play this game at the competitive level. Doodle has a really weird financial scenario that makes it difficult for them to play at a 100% optimized level, which is why I'm sponsoring them as a player, which is why Team Blunder, by the way, Team Blunder, Nationals 2024. Can I apply for the Team Blunder league spot? No. I would be surprised if I ever made a league team. Most players who are going to take this game competitively seriously usually will be able to find a way to play this game. Whether it means like selling all their deck cores and like dialing in and playing one specific deck, or just being good enough to get a sponsored player. People will find a way. It has like been proven time and time again that even like players of lower overall income, people will find a way to play Yu-Gi-Oh at a competitive level that they deem appropriate. It is possible. Or just miss a meal or a red. Easy. Okay, maybe not that. But, and like, there's like a 1 in 1,000 players, like Doodle or some of my other friends, where they're actively trying to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh and are actually good at the game. Note the actually good at the game part, but just don't have the funds to play. Like, they're not able to drop like $700 on like a playset of Fuolos. And by the way, in case you're wondering if I'm just bitching, trying to keep the pores down, and I'm just like, coming from a guy who, let me just pull out my whatever. This is coming from someone who owns 5 Fuoloses. 5 Fuoloses. 5 Fuoloses. QCR, by the way. QCRs, by the way. 5 Fuoloses. Shit, chat, let me do a Fuolos money spread. Sheesh. This shit looks awful. Bro, holding my rent for 4 months there. This is my mortgage. What do you mean? I need to get these Fuolos sent to Doodle real fast. Doodle having 2 Fuolos challenge possible. I need to mail this. Congrats, Doodle, we found your fucking Fuoloses. The Perulias are still fucking gone, but you know. I think, Doodle, I think you're gonna be fighting with 2 Perulia, 2 Fuolos for a while. But yeah, like, obviously for like pro teams, like smaller pro teams like mine, or just like in general, it can be very frustrating to invest a lot of money early on and try and get value out of the cards while you can, because you realistically are going to be fine for a couple years. And then, like in the future, your investment in large quotation tanks. And yes, you could say,
well, actually, it's a card game and you don't own the IP, and you should expect your cards to be reprinted and drove into the ground.
I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I am saying it's just very frustrating that sometimes it can happen. But anyways, overall, good set. I'm happy just like the concept of quarter century Stampede exists. Shout outs to Doodle, who's gonna be able to get their own play set of Fuolos in the future, and no longer have to leech mine. Thanks, Doodle. Win me some yugioh cards. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And yeah, see you in the next video.